Hello, sports fan, and welcome to this episode of Why Alex Rodriguez Was Better Than Derek Jeter. This is the Packs for Breakfast All-Star Infield. You notice there's no Derek Jeter up there, it's Alex Rodriguez. But we also didn't pull a Derek Jeter card, or did we? We might have. We might have pulled a Derek Jeter card, and I still said, put A-Rod in. A-Rod. A-Rod's going in. A-Rod was better. He was better. Don't at me. He was better. I'm going to tell you why later. But this represents the infield of the Packs for Breakfast All-Star team. We pulled cards from the 1997 Upper Deck packs. Every Sunday morning, Chris and I do a live stream where we open up a bunch of packs of cards and we try to come up with an all-star team from them. The only problem with 1997 Upper Deck, it had an all-star card in every pack. So it was very easy to put together an all-star team. Even though there'll be people that might sit there and kind of balk at Mo Vaughn, especially seeing as we did pull cards like Mark McGwire and Frank Thomas, but they've been on all-star teams that we've done. So we kind of wanted to give Big Mo Vaughn a little bit of love. Guy that might get forgotten by a lot of other people. Red Sox fans will of course remember him, but a lot of other fans might go, I don't really remember Mo Vaughn. Mo Vaughn he played 13, I think about 13 seasons in the MLB, played most of them with the Red Sox, had 328 career home runs, batted .293 in his career, so that's pretty good, had a little over 1,000 RBIs. But he's not one of those guys that, he's not considered a household name. He didn't get into the Hall of Fame. Those numbers aren't going to get you in the Hall of Fame being a big first baseman. And you didn't even get to 400 home runs, let alone the 500 that are usually more of a gimme to get into the Hall. But he was one of my favorite players growing up. It's like, or watching baseball all them years. So it's like we just thought, let's give him a little bit of love. Let's make him our first baseman. We've got a great team. We got a great roster. They can carry him. We could, for the first time in his career, he might be batting 8th or 9th in the lineup because we have so many other great hitters. But next to him would be Craig Biggio. Biggio is definitely considered one of the best second basemen of all time, not just in his era. In his era, it was probably him and Roberto Alomar that were considered the best second baseman. We've had Roberto Alomar on an all-star team, but we pulled a Craig Biggio this time. Craig Biggio had over 3,000 hits, batted .281 for his career, had almost 300 home runs and 400 stolen bases. He played his entire career with the Houston Astros. He was a 4-time Gold Glove winner. Never won a World Series. It's too bad, but he is a Baseball Hall of Famer. So, I mean, the great part about Biggio is he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame, and he made the Hall back in 2015. Once again, Craig Biggio's not usually passed up. When you talk about the best second baseman of all time, Craig Biggio's name is going to be on that list. There aren't a lot of great second basemen. Usually, your second baseman is your lesser of the infielders for fielding, because your best fielder is going to be your shortstop on the middle infield. But Biggio was a great fielder regardless. He played second base amazingly well. We're going to pass over A-Rod because I'll talk about him a little bit later, very shortly. But we're going to go to Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones, at one point in his career, was the NL MVP in 1999. Did play on that 1995 Braves championship team. Those Braves teams were so good, and they should have had way more championships. They just should have. Those Yankees teams kind of took few of them from them, but the Braves were solid year after year after year. And when they had pitching that had Smoltz, Glavine, Maddox, even Avery, it seemed weird that team didn't win, because they always say pitching wins championships, and they had the best starting three that you could almost assemble, and it didn't translate to a lot of World Series. They had good hitters too. I mean, Andrew Jones and Chipper Jones were good. Dave Justice was good. Javi Lopez. It's like they had good hitting as well. So, Ron Gant, Fred McGriff, they had guys that could swing the bats. So it was always weird that they only got the one. But Chipper made the Hall of Fame in 2018. Really, he's one of those players that it's like when you're considering the best third baseman of all time, you're gonna look at maybe a Wade Boggs would probably be better than Chipper Jones, but it's like Chipper for this team, it's like he's a really good bat to put in there. 468 career home runs. But when you got the bat of Chipper Jones, you got the bat of Big Mo Vaughn, but the bat that counts the most is that guy right there. The guy that's got the Mariners jersey on, Alex Rodriguez. That's the bat that matters the most. That's the guy that's going to hit the big home runs. That's the guy that's going to be your big fly guy. Alex Rodriguez played a lot of years in the MLB, except for 1 year where he was gone because of testing positive for steroids. Won't hide that fact. He missed the entire 2014 season. But I will always argue that A-Rod was the better player over Derek Jeter. It's like, to me, the weird part about this is like A-Rod, when he went to the Yankees, he was the highest paid player. He had signed a 10-year, like $252 million contract in like 97. And in that contract, I was the highest paid guy. That's over 25 mil a year. It was insane, but he deserved it. He had the biggest bat in the MLB at the time. He was a young guy with a big bat. 1997 was only 3 years after he debuted. So they knew this guy was something special. He did end up with over 3,000 hits in his career. He had 2,000 runs batted in, almost 700 home runs, and batted .295. He was a 2-time Gold Glove winner, 14-time All-Star, and was a 1-time World Series champion. He was also a 3-time AL MVP. So this guy put up the MVP trophies as well. But when he went to New York, at the time, I think he was playing a better shortstop than Derek Jeter. And so I thought that Derek Jeter should move over to third and let A-Rod have the shortstop position. It was one of the things that A-Rod wanted to continue to play his spot, but Derek Jeter would not move over. So when A-Rod, he agreed, he said he'd go to third. To me, Derek Jeter never really liked A-Rod anyway. It never seemed that way. It seemed like they were going to be rivals, even on the same team. But I was never a Derek Jeter fan. And I still say to this day, I would rather have Alex Rodriguez than Derek Jeter. To me, Derek Jeter was just lucky and played on great teams. The reason he came up in big moments a lot of times is because a lot of these other guys, he just, sometimes you're going to get those at-bats and you're just going to get put in a place where you have a chance to come through. And when you're a career .310 hitter like Derek Jeter was, more likely you're going to get the hits. So it's like it's not like he was going to shrink in the moment. And I think a lot of great players don't shrink in the moment. Derek Jeter had 3,400 hits. He had only 260 home runs. He never was the MVP. It's like A-Rod was a 3-time AL MVP. Derek Jeter never won the MVP. But he does have a World Series MVP to his credit. And he played his entire year for the Yankees. Don't like Derek Jeter. I've never been a fan of Derek Jeter's, but I do like it when a person stays with their team for their entire run, and he stayed with the Yankees for his entire run. But A-Rod, to me, had a bigger bat. I think he was the better shortstop. That is arguable, of course, because there are people that swear that Derek Jeter was the better. But I think that A-Rod had a stronger arm. Maybe Jeter was a little bit more nimble. But I think overall, I would rather have A-Rod, and especially at the time when he was going to the Yankees, I'd rather had A-Rod's A-Rod at the shortstop position. To me, it weakened the Yankees team a little bit on the infield when you put A-Rod over at third, and keep Jeter at second, because I believe that at the time A-Rod was playing a better shortstop than Derek Jeter. A-Rod's also a year younger than Jeter. Not that that makes a big deal, a big difference, but these are, remember, you can sit there and say all you want. You can throw the numbers in my face what Derek Jeter did. But remember, I'm a fan. I'm not an analyst. I'm not a professional. I'm not paid. I'm a fan like most of the people that are watching. And as fans, we have unreasonable disdain for certain players, certain teams. That's part of being a fan. My disdain for Derek Jeter or Kobe Bryant or Bill Belichick or whatever, it's an unreasonable disdain because I just can't stand them. But I guarantee you, if you're a big time sports fan like me, then you're probably the same way. You probably have disdain and hatred or dislike for certain players and certain teams that it's like nobody will ever be able to argue the point to make you say, yeah, that guy was better than my guy, even though I hated that guy. So it's like, if you want, you can go ahead and you can throw all the stats in my face. I'm looking at the stats right here. I'd still take A-Rod, and that is all-star for now.